Hare Krishna. Welcome to our program. Our speaker of the day is Shriman Gaurang Darshan Prabhu. He has done his master's degree from the prestigious Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, who is a senior disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He is also a member of ISKCON Examination Board and takes classes on Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and Vaishnav etiquettes. He has written elaborate workbooks on Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, with which the students can dive into intricacies of these great scriptures. He is a compiler of many other educational booklets and magazines, thus helping the seekers of Bhagavad knowledge. In all, he is a living encyclopedia of scriptures preaching the science all over the world, and who is exemplary and lives whatever he preaches. Come, let's hear him and try to imbibe the essence of scriptures as presented by him. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We were discussing this Venu Gita, and we already discussed the first sloka. Akshanvatam phalamidam naparam vidamaha. The gopis of Vrindavan were glorifying Krishna's flute song, and they first glorified the beauty of Krishna. Krishna's beauty is the topmost beauty in the entire cosmic manifestation, and they say that the purpose of having eyes is to see Krishna's beauty. Akshanvatam phalamidam naparam vidamaha. As Krishna is entering the forest of Vrindavan along with the Gopas and Balaram and the cows and calves while playing flute, that is such an enchanting scene, and the gopis say that to see Krishna in this way is the purpose of having eyes, and it is true not only for the gopis, it is true for every single living being, because Krishna's form is the abode of all opulences, all beauties, and it is pleasing to all the senses. Sarvendriya Gunanjanam. In the Rudra Gita also, Lord Shiva glorifies Krishna in this way. Snigdha pravridghanashyamam sarva saundarya sangraham charvayata chaturbahu sujata ruchirananam. He says, sarva saundarya sangraham. Krishna's form is the collection of all beauties. There are unlimited beauties in the material world. There are so many beauties in the spiritual world. Krishna is the collection of all those beauties. Krishna is the reservoir of all these beauties. And it is Krishna who is the source or origin of all these beauties. Krishna is the ultimate beautiful personality in the entire creation. And Krishna's beauty is further described by the women of Mathura also, not only the gopis of Vrindavan. Mathura Vasis say that Gopyah tapah kimacharan yadamushyarupam lavanya saramasamordhvamananya siddham drigbhih pibantyanu durapam ekanta dhama yashashah shriya aishwarasya. They say Gopyah tapah kimacharan yadamushyarupam. What great austerities have the gopis done to be able to see this most brilliant form of Krishna. What is the speciality of Krishna's form? Number one, Lavanya Saram. Krishna's form is the essence of all loveliness. Lavanya Saram. Number two, Asamordham. There is no form which is superior to Krishna. There is no form which is equal to Krishna. Krishna's beauty is unparalleled. Lavanya Saram Asamordham Ananya Siddham. Where did Krishna attain this much beauty? How has he become so beautiful? Ananya Siddham. It is inherent in him. Krishna is the most beautiful personality and he need not acquire beauty from some other source. He is the source of all beauties. There is no source that can provide Krishna with this quality. Ananya siddham drigbhihi pibanti anusava abhinavam durapam. When someone drinks the nectar of Krishna's beauty with their eyes, although they drink regularly, they are never satiated. Drigbhihi pibanti anusava abhinavam. The beauty of Krishna appears newer and newer the more one sees him. Drigbhihi pibanti anusava abhinavam durapam. Durapam means this beautiful vision of Krishna's darshan is very rarely attainable. Only the most fortunate people will be able to see Krishna in Vrindavan. Drigbhihi pibanti anusava abhinavam durapam ekanta dhama yashashaha shriya aishwarasya. Krishna's form is the one and only abode of all opulences, whether it be beauty or knowledge or strength or whatever may be the opulence. Krishna's form contains all those opulences in full, and that beautiful form of Krishna is being seen by the gopis of Vrindavan as Krishna is entering the forest of Vrindavan while playing the flute. The gopis of Vrindavan continue in the second shloka of Venu Gita. They say, Chuta pravala barhastabakopalabja malanuprukta paridhana vichitra vesho madhye virejaturalam pashupala goshtyam range yatha natavarau kvachagaya manau. The gopis are saying, Chuta, Pravala, Barha, Stabaka, Utpalabja. So Krishna is so beautifully decorated with very tender forest flowers and roots and shoots and garlands which are made of forest flowers. So Krishna is also decorated with very tender leaves. Mother Yashoda decorates him, Krishna, so wonderfully. On top of it, as Krishna enters Vrindavan, all the gopas, they pick up some flowers or fruits or some minerals and some tender leaves, and they decorate Krishna. They decorate Krishna's hair and waist and his whole body. So thus Krishna is appearing like a very beautiful drama artist. Malana prukta paridhana vichitra vesha. Vichitra vesha means very wonderful attire. The gopis are describing that Krishna is looking so resplendent with all these forest decorations, with very natural decorations. They are not very sophisticated decorations that are available in Dwaraka or Vaikuntha. They are so innocent and simple decorations that are appearing in Vrindavan. Madhye virejatu ralam pashupala goshtyam. And Krishna, with all these decorations, he sits in the midst of all the gopas. All the gopas are surrounding him. Pashupala goshtyam madhye virejatur. Krishna is resplendent. Krishna is shining by standing in the midst of all these gopas, and he starts dancing. Range yatha natavarau kvacha gayamanau. All the gopas would request Krishna, Krishna, can you sing? Can you dance? Krishna sings. Krishna also dances for the pleasure of all the gopas. So thus Krishna is enjoying his childhood play with all the gopas in the forests of Vrindavan. He is the supreme enjoyer, and remembering all these enjoying activities of Krishna, the gopis are in ecstasy. Gopyah kimacharadayam kushalam smavenor damodaradhara sudham api gopikanam bhungte swayam yadavasishta rasam hradinyo hrishyatva choshrimumuchustaravo yatharyah. The gopis so far described the beautiful forms of Krishna and Balaram, and how Krishna entered Vrindavan forest and how he was enjoying with all the gopas in Vrindavan forest. Now the gopis diverted their attention to describing Krishna's beautiful flute song. They say, Gopyaha, O gopis, kimacharadayam kushalam smavenur. What great auspicious activities, what great pious activities did this flute do? Flute of Krishna is nothing but a bamboo stick with some holes in the middle. So what great austerities did this flute do? Damodaradhara Sudham api Gopikanam. This flute is accepting all the nectarian airs coming from the lips of Govinda. Damodara. Krishna is called Damodara because he is tied by Mother Yashoda's love. Once Krishna was doing mischief in his childhood, Mother Yashoda became very angry with Krishna and tied his waist with a rope. Since that time, Krishna is called Damodara. Dama means rope, Udara means belly. So Krishna's belly is bound by the rope of Mother Yashoda's love. So Krishna is called Damodara. So Damodaradhara Sudham api Gopikanam. The Gopikas were saying that this flute is accepting all the nectarian airs that are coming from Krishna's lotus lips. Bhunkte swayam yadavasishta rasam hridinyo. She is accepting, the flute is a male actually, the flute is accepting all these airs. Hrishyatva choshtrumumuchustaravo yatharyaha. Seeing that the son of the bamboo trees, that is this flute is having that great fortune of being played by Krishna. The forefathers of this flute, that is the trees, they are feeling so happy. The gopis are appreciating the fortune of this flute. Something that has holes cannot hold anything, but Krishna's flute, although it has holes throughout his body, the flute is mesmerizing everyone. It is holding so many ragas. The flute is holding unlimited melodies that are captivating the hearts of the residents of the three planetary systems, the three worlds. And flute is so dry, but the sound that this flute is emanating is creating tears in the eyes of people who are hearing. It is moistening the eyes of people who are sincerely hearing with absorption. So, although the flute is considered to be lifeless, it is the source of life of so many people. The gopis were very wonderfully describing the fortune of this flute. How fortunate is this beautiful flute of Krishna? It's a dry bamboo stick, but it is moistening the eyes of so many people who are hearing the music. And Krishna plays such wonderful ragas that are suiting the climate, that are suiting the context in which he is playing. And the great musicians, people who are experts in musical science like Brahma, Indra, Vishnu, they also get mesmerized by Krishna's flute song. They are thinking, where did Krishna create all these kinds of ragas? These ragas that Krishna is playing on his flute are unknown to us. So the great musicians also feel surprised at seeing Krishna's flute. And the flute is empowered by Krishna to such an extent that the flute is becoming an object of appreciation even for the gopis also. The flute is maddening the three worlds. That's the glory of Krishna's flute. Although it is simple, dry stick. So we need to understand that although we are having so many shortcomings, if only we are willing to become an instrument in God's hands, God will use us in accomplishing so many unimaginable, inconceivable, wonderful things. We can accomplish things that are beyond our imagination if only we take shelter of God, if we are empowered by God. For us to get empowered by God, we need to take His shelter with sincerity, with love, with devotion. Just like Krishna empowered the flute to madden the three worlds, Krishna can empower a devotee to perform such wonderful service to the three worlds. In the next shloka of Venu Gita, the gopis are saying, Vrindavanam sakhi bhuvo vitanoti kirtim yaddevaki sutapadam bhujalabdha lakshmi govinda venu manumatta mayora nrityam prekshadrisanvavaratanya samasta sattvam. The gopis are saying, Vrindavanam sakhi bhuvo vitanoti kirtim. Oh sakhis, oh my dear friends, this Vrindavan is such a glorious land. Vitanoti kirtim. This, just because Vrindavan is there on the surface of this earthly planet itself is so glorified. So Vrindavan is the greatest ornament on the surface of earth. The earth planet is praised just because it is holding this eternal abode of Krishna in the form of Vrindavan on its surface. Vrindavanam Sakhibhuvo Vitanoti Kirtim. And what is the speciality of this Vrindavan Dham, Vrindavan abode? The gopis say, Yad Devaki Sutta Padambuja Labdha Lakshmihi. Because this Vrindavan abode has attained the wealth of Krishna's lotus footprints. In Vrindavan, Krishna does not even wear slippers. He walks barefoot in Vrindavan. Once, Mother Yashoda gave very beautiful pair of shoes to Krishna. Krishna, you are entering the forest, you are taking cows and calves to the pasturing grounds. So there are so many thorns and pebbles and stones that might hurt your soft, tender lotus feet. So why don't you wear these shoes and then go to Vrindavan forest? Then Krishna said, my dear mother, I will definitely wear these shoes, but one condition. If you can make shoes for all my cows, there are 9 lakh cows in Nanda Maharaj's cow herd. If you can make shoes for all my cows, then I will be able to wear these shoes. Then Mother Yashoda said, each cow had 4 legs. How can I get so many pairs of shoes? I won't be able to make shoes. So Krishna said, okay, I'll walk barefoot. So Krishna started walking barefoot without any shoes on the land of Vrindavan. Thus, Krishna is directly imprinting the land of Vrindavan with his auspicious, beautiful footprints. And that is the wealth of Vrindavan. Vrindavan is so glorious because Vrindavan got the footprints of Krishna. What is the effect of these footprints of Krishna? Krishna's lotus feet are described in this way in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sanchintayed bhagavatas charanaravindam vajrankusadhvaja saroruhalanchanadhyam uttungarakta vilasanna khachakravala jyotsnabhirahatamahadhridayandhakaram. Sanchintayed bhagavatah charanaravindam. A devotee of Krishna should meditate on the lotus feet of Krishna for a long time. Uttunga rakta vilasan nakhachakravala. Because if one meditates on the lotus feet of Krishna for a long time, there is moon-like effulgence that is emanating from the toenails of Krishna. And that effulgence can completely destroy, vanquish the darkness of ignorance that is there within the hearts of every single living being. So, the lotus feet of Krishna are marked with very auspicious marks like Vajra. Vajra means an elephant goad. Ankusha. Vajra is thunderbolt. Ankusha is elephant goad. Saroruha, a lotus. Lanchanadhyam. Like this, there are so many auspicious marks on Krishna's lotus feet. And if we meditate on those lotus feet, the thick gloom of darkness of ignorance that is there within our hearts is completely dispelled. That is the effect of meditating on Krishna's lotus feet. And Krishna's lotus feet are directly touching the surface of the land of Vrindavan. As Krishna is walking on the forests of Vrindavan, he is not wearing shoes, and all these auspicious footprints with all those auspicious marks on them are visible everywhere. Nobody in Vrindavan would disturb those footprints. Even a cow or a calf or a monkey or a peacock or a gopa or a gopi, nobody would disturb the footprints. To find out where Krishna is very easy in Vrindavan, because the footprints are there showing path to where Krishna is. So, the gopis are glorifying that Vrindavan is such a wonderful abode that it obtained the wealth of Krishna's lotus feet. Vrindavanam sakhibhuvo vitanoti kirtim yad devaki sutapadambuja labdha lakshmihi. Then the gopis continue to say, Govinda venu manumatta mayura nrityam. They are describing the effect of Krishna's flute song on the peacocks of Vrindavan. Mayura means peacock. Peacocks surrounded Krishna and they started dancing. Mayura Nrityam, as Krishna is playing flute, all the peacocks were surrounding him and they started dancing. And seeing Krishna's flute song, being so mesmerized by the flute song of Krishna, the peacocks became so happy, they not only danced, they also gifted Krishna some peacock feathers. Krishna, this is our gift. And Krishna honored this special gift and kept that gift on his head only. That's how the peacocks of Vrindavan gifted Krishna. And peacocks generally dance when they see rain clouds. When the cloud is so dark and it is about to rain, seeing that dark cloud, the peacocks become very ecstatic and they start dancing. And here is Krishna, whose bodily complexion is resembling a dark monsoon cloud, and the peacocks thought that Krishna is a rain cloud. They approached Krishna and they started dancing. And rain clouds generally are accompanied by thunder, but here is another rain cloud in the form of Krishna, who has bluish complexion. He is not thundering, but he is playing very sweet song by his flute. That made the peacocks so happy, and they started dancing, and they gifted Krishna their feathers. And Krishna wore those feathers on his head directly. Next line in this sloka, the gopis are saying, Prekshadri sanvavaratanya samasta sattvam. All the forest animals, sattvic animals in the forest, gathered together, and Prekshadri, Adri means a small hill. So all the forest animals went to some raised platforms which are like hills, and they stood there and they were watching Krishna while he is playing flute and entertaining these peacocks and the gopas. So all the animals were attracted to Krishna's flute song, all the peacocks were attracted to Krishna's flute song, and this whole performance was happening in Vrindavan Dham, and Vrindavan is so glorious that it is expanding the fame of this earthly planet. This is how the gopis glorified Krishna's flute song.
For more such devotional programs, please watch Hare Krishna television. To get this channel, please contact your cable or DTH operator. For more information, please call 8767 845 845.